Well, good afternoon. It's so nice to talk to you again. Today is July 4th, 2018, and I promise to keep this one short. As you know, I've been bringing YouTubes to you from dreams I've been getting, and it's because I've been watching inspirational lectures through Ananda and their disciples of Yogananda. And much to my surprise, who knows, I'm picking up information that um, Yogananda tried to convey to his disciples. He told his disciples about this particular time. Mind you, Yogananda died in 1952, but he told his disciples about this particular time as a very precarious and frightening time. And would we make it through these times was the big question. Um, and he gave his disciples the task of making communities that were self-sustaining and away from cities, because there was a chance that catastrophic things were going to happen, and but it was iffy. But he said, make a spiritual community. If anything, you can elevate the vibrations of the planet. And this is a picture of Yogananda. I think they were looking into the sun because they're frowning. These people were not quite so serious. However, they're very evolved gurus, and you don't get the title of guru lightly. And this is Yogananda. I'm sure you've seen pictures of him. You would want to read his autobiography of a yogi to understand what he was talking about. He was an avatar of the New Age, Dry Yuga. We spent time on that in the last YouTube. This was his guru, Sri Yukteswar. And if really the name is Yukteswar, and you put Sri on the front of it, it's like a salutation of respect. Now, Sri Yukteswar wrote a book right in around 1898 called The Holy Science, and he predicted, he talked about, in this very, very tiny little pamphlet, he talked about the yugas and the coming ages. Okay, so here is this little pamphlet published kind of in the beginning of the 1900s, and it's just kind of sitting around, and some astrologers finally noticed what this book was talking about, a little pamphlet actually. And a whole new science has evolved, and it's the time for things to evolve. We have come out of the dark ages. It is these ideas have a time where they're rebirthed into the ethers. And also Sri Yukteswar sent Yogananda to America in 1920 to begin heralding in the new age and the new consciousness of mankind. Now, this is all pretty cool, isn't it? Let us continue. We'll do a little recap of the yugas. Mind you, I could talk till the end of time about the yugas, but because this is the ultimate astrology. When I first became an astrologer, I was all excited about the age of Aquarius, and that by knowing these things, we would be able to have a better future for everybody. And astrology has just turned into one endless weather forecast for individuals. And it kind of went like, first it's going to be good, and then it's going to be bad, and then you're going to be happy, and then you're going to be sad, and then you're going to die. And that's kind of the way it was. And I was like, this is not enlightening. And it wasn't until I found the yugas that I recognized we were truly at the age of the Aquarius. We're starting here. This is where we are. If you've ever seen a map that says you are here, this is it. You see, we have been de-evolving. And the linear concept by the West of we started out in a swamp and climbed up is not true. We have evolved in a circle. Everything in the universe is a circle. Orbs and planets, everything circles around another and comes back to a beginning point. So this is the golden age up here, Sata Yuga, also called the golden age. This is part of our racial memory. We remember the Garden of Eden. We remember things about it. And but we started to descend in this cycle. And there's a reason why. It has to do with the movement of the solar system, but I'm going to spare you that. Just take my word for it. We're coming into a better age. We descended and descended and descended into Dwapara Yuga, and it's called a Y-U-G-A, Yuga, Dwapara Yuga. This is the Bronze Age. This is where we really began our descent. At every demarcation of a time span, great cataclysmic things happen. In talking to other people that have studied it, I've said, wait a minute, we just entered a new age, this ascending, meaning going up. Are we in for cataclysmic things? And historians that are now paying attention to it, recognize that we really don't know. We had disasters, floods, sinking of Atlantis, Ice Age. Every time there was a change, including trying to kill a wonderful Jesus that came to us around this age. He was the avatar of the Kali Age. We just left the Kali Age. In my previous YouTubes, I explained that Jesus did not die on the cross. The Hindus know how to go into a deep sleep, and they appear to be not breathing and or dead. And I think Jesus could do this. I am studying some types of meditations. It is just to put yourself into a meditative state where you do slow down your breathing. So, and it's possible. It's not ridiculous. It can be done. So, we're coming up to this. We just entered the Bronze Age. We were here. We went into the Dark Ages, which was dreadful. Our Western history really starts about here. We're kind of aware of the pyramids. We don't understand what they are, and new knowledge is coming. And we've just discovered some at Göbekli in Turkey. They found a new site that's even more mysterious than the pyramids. So we descended, Dark Ages. This is the garbage pail of mankind, and we became the characteristics of the age help you understand that mankind can only understand what he can feel and touch. He only knows this one life, and he lives in terror of dying. Fear of mortality has caused almost every war and murder and injustice because of ignorance. So, but we're moving up. Religious fear and superstition is leaving us, and people are becoming aware. And we're becoming aware because we will mirror where we left off here. As we go up, the knowledge that we knew here will gradually, we will remember. So you get and you live longer, and the new ages that are coming up are wonderful, and you have to look at the way everything has changed since the 1900s. If you look at the way your great grandparents lived versus today, you know something's changed. Now, can we change for the better? That's the question. This got cut off a little in the last YouTube. This is per capita income of uh, our history since 0 BC, when Christ was here. We start to keep time in our current Western calendar. Look at this. This is income per capita. How have we been doing? Kind of the same. Miserable, miserable, miserable. Something starts to change here right around 1900s, and it goes like this. So do you think things have gotten a little better for us? Let's try to keep this momentum. And as you know, I began getting these dreams that gave me, I would get the news like a couple days before it happened. Well, sometimes, not always. And so I began putting it on a Facebook group page called Psychic Predictions for the World, which you are more than welcome to come and join. This way I have things time-stamped because I didn't have any way to, I'm getting it, I pick up the paper, 2 days later, it's happened. Why am I getting this? Because I am being fed information, because I'm listening to this inspiration, and somehow I'm picking up on it. And we're coming into an age where this won't be that uncommon, and people are starting to know that in their hearts. Bernie Sanders, he's such a sweetheart. I love him very much. He has started a movement, and he's going to die trying, as I mentioned in the last YouTube. However, he has started something. Will it be good? Let's see. What's happening is we're going to have a reoccurring theme. Vladimir Lenin founded the Socialist Party in 1917. And you notice things are starting to change then. Now, everything he said was very feasible to bring a better world to his people. However, he was kind of a political ally with Stalin, and Vladimir died, and Stalin took over, and thus began the evil empire, truly. So what's going to happen is tremendous idealism. Will that idealism and power fall into evil people like Stalin? And I woke up, it was like on the 25th, and it's timestamps, not in this slide, but I have it on my psychic predictions for the world. I woke up and I saw a donkey kicking up his heels. He was happy, and he was, confetti was raining down around him, and it was red, blue, and silver. Okay, I thought, okay, something is happening with the Democratic Party. And this is some of the things I wrote about on my Facebook page, because I wrote things about Bernie, and they said, oh, Bernie Sanders is a socialist. He's not going to win anything, and neither will socialists. And I wrote down here, I don't know, except I got the feeling it was a female, and I got the lovely color of blue. Enter Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is now a contender for a Democratic seat in the Congress as a senator, and there'll be a runoff on, I guess it'll be November 6th. I didn't know they were having runoffs in New York. Surprise, surprise. And this young woman took everybody by surprise. Also, you saw in the last thing I put on the Facebook page, I said, I got the letter M. Do you think it stands for millennials? Well, Alexandria had talked to some young people who were all excited because they had just started to vote on a primary. Young people don't vote on a primary. Well, guess what? They're ready for a change. And she is a Democratic socialist. Will Bernie Sanders dreams of a more democratic society like Sweden and Norway, the Netherlands, and those kind of societies that are in Canada. They're making us look like a third world country, which we're becoming, by the way. So here we have her finding out. Here's a picture that's very exciting. Hold on. I love this picture. She's going to her headquarters, which is in a pool hall in the Bronx. We're talking grassroots. She is 28. Look at her face. Nobody saw this coming. So it's very exciting. And what's unfolding here is the donkey's kicking up his heels, and Bernie Sanders is coming. His dreams are coming true. However, he will be taken out of the picture, probably by some evil people, who knows, that are scared, because there are some Kali Yuga people that are still of the Dark Ages running around scared of everything. So here she is on the 28th on the Stephen Colbert show. Who could have seen this coming? She looked beautiful, and she wore blue. She wore blue and everything. The female wearing blue. So Bernie Sanders, she is being inspired by people like Bernie Sanders, and she's going to pick up the baton. Now, unfortunately, Bernie Sanders he has some good aspects, I'm an astrologer too, coming up for the next election. So, but this was a surprise. So what we have is a vision that came true, and I'm looking at the news every day, and I'm like, oh my God, I saw this last week. Now, where is this leading us? And we will have to wait till my next YouTube. We'll be talking about Putin and the coming ice age and some of the things that are happening to our beautiful planet. Can we save the Earth? No. When I grew up, we were just trying to save the whales. Now we're trying to save the Earth. It's been a terrible time. Yogananda saw this. Now, on another dream, I just got this. This morning, maybe. They come in so fast. I saw an old-fashioned oil well. It's going to be somewhere below Dallas and above Houston. There is an old oil well that people gave up on. It was dry, never worked out. And it's going to be they're going to discover yet more oil under this, and some Arab people are going to own this, or own the rights to it. So it's going to once again bring more oil. Like, we need that like a hole in the head, because you're going to see in these visions I've gotten, and this is already known on the news, Putin and Trump want to make sure that we stay with the oil, and they actually want to cause climate change. That's Putin's big dream. So that's like hard to believe. He feels like he's going to profit by climate change. Oh my God. So we have some crazy people here. We have Kim Jong-un of North Korea, who has lots of nuclear weapons. We have crazy. I thought Putin was rational. However, I'm changing my mind on that, since he thinks melting the Baltic Sea is such a grand idea, and he's pals with our president, who also wants to aid him in speeding up the climate change. And there's, of course, money behind this. Follow the money. The Weather Channel has been right on top of a lot of this. I started giving YouTubes on Dr. Death last year. And I had several YouTubes. I had dreams about Dr. Death and vigilantes along the Texas border. Now, our border runs with Mexico through New Mexico, Texas, Arizona, and a little bit of California. But it is mainly Texas where these atrocities are happening. What's happening is when the immigrants trying to get amnesty to flee whatever horrible violence they have in their country, they have in the past, and they've been told that they could do this. They know this kind of terrible thing to tell people something and you lock them up afterwards. They come across, I believe they call immigrations, and they say, we're here, we want to declare amnesty. Now what happens? This is true. What happens is they're in terrible desert land where you die from very quickly from exposure. And when you're in, especially Arizona is bad for this, they have vigilantes that go around and for desert angels that put water jugs out. They scatter them along the high, dry desert, and then vigilantes go around and shoot the water bottles or containers just for fun. But they've taken a step further. They have started actually killing the immigrants when they come across. It's like if you have nothing better to do and you have a powerful rifle, you might as well hang out at the border, get drunk, and shoot people crossing the Rio Grande. Now, the immigrants are calling the Border Patrol and saying, we're here, we want to declare amnesty. You know what the Border Patrol does? They don't do anything. They let them die in the heat, in the cold, and of thirst. Once they're dead, this is a lot in Brownsville, they can take the bodies to a local funeral home. They just wait for them to die. And if the vigilantes didn't get them. And when they take them to the funeral home in McAllen, Brownsville, and some other places along the border, the funeral home gets $1,000 per body. And because they bill the government, they go, we got these dead people, and we're going to process them. And the government gives the funeral home money. Guess what? The Border Patrol gets kickback for each dead body they bring in. Now, what did they do with the bodies? They actually ran out of room. And yes, they did. So they would go to graveyards at funeral homes to do this. And they would dig down beside a coffin already existing in a grave and drop the body in. All right. So technically, they buried them. They charged the government $1,000 to do nothing, just dig a hole, and they give kickbacks to the Border Patrol and the vigilantes. You see, the immigrants have a bounty on their heads. This is happening with the locked up, caged children in Texas and Arizona, all the red states. You see, we've gotten carried away with prisons for profit. The more people, usually, of course, black ghetto kids get locked up immediately for anything, and off to the pokey they go, prisons, and the prisons are paid to take these kids. The injustice is insane. They get money for locking people up. and this has been proved a horrible thing. And now they're getting money all kinds of ways through funeral homes and also people, girl boys out having fun. I saw a base in Dallas, Texas, actually, and they they might be out having a drink with a gun. They shoot people. They take them to the funeral home, boom, in the ground, build the county or the state. So that's what's going on in the border. Now they've gotten out of control with this because these institutionalized places that will house prisoners now think it's a great idea to do this with children. So you put them in cages in warehouses, then you ship them all around. So that's what's going on in our country at this time. So I think we need some cheery news. We have death. This is real Death Valley. This is courtesy of the Weather Channel, by the way. And I saw this last year. I was making YouTubes about Dr. Death, and we've not heard the end of Dr. Death and people making the immigrants have bounties on them. The children are worth more in cages, and they can bill the government, and the adult immigrants are worth more dead. Follow the money. This is what we've come to. But is this the end of this dreary story? I think we're going to have some more positive things coming up. One that's going to be a bit of a surprise for Vladimir Putin is that a large combo of ice and land breaks loose from the Arctic above Alaska, and the Bering Straits comes crashing down into the whatever all those cold places are, and it's an unpleasant surprise. This was something that has not come true yet. I saw an older black woman running for a political seat in the South in southern states, never won or by a person of color before. She gains popularity because of her views, even though she is unattractive physically, and she becomes a role model for young people. I am reminded of Shirley Chisholm from the 70s. So let's wait and see if this woman comes forth. This was one of my surprise flashes. This was about 2 months ago, and I actually posted this on June 1st. I just didn't want to put it on into my Facebook in time stamp it because it was too outrageous. This was a surprise flash. Trump involved in child trafficking ring. It wasn't that I wouldn't put it past him, but there's not enough money in it for him to bother. And my thought was, could it be a loose tie of his that implicates him? Then on June 6th, Senator Jeff from Oregon broke the story of the children in Walmart warehouses in cages. Now, all kinds of things have happened because of this story, and I just couldn't believe it. I didn't know what was happening with Trump shipping children around. It was too disgusting to even write down. This was posted by one of the psychic predictions for the world folks. She asked not to be identified. She posted this premonition by Lincoln, and I'm going to read it to you. Here is Lincoln's premonition for the future, and this is what he wrote. He was a spiritualist, by the way. He and his wife, they had seances. In the near future, a crisis approaching that unnerves me. and causes me to tremble for the safety of my country. Corporations have been enthroned, and an era of corruption in high places will follow. The, the money power of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working upon the prejudices of the people until the wealth is aggregated into a few hands and the public republic is destroyed. November 21st, 1864. These words, and the republic is destroyed. And it is true. They people with money and power have played on fear, and this is this fearful of the immigrants coming in, fearful of black people getting power, you name it. When you're in a Kali Yuga age, when all you know is the material side of life, you're afraid of everything. So this was Abraham Lincoln's premonition. I am also urged to move on because of Yogananda's insight and his guru's insight to bring about a change. Can we reverse the things that are happening now? I have, of course, so much more. And trust me, folks, I get a dream every night. So I have things from Putin and Obama. One is that South Carolina Senate candidate that was injured severely in an auto accident. I saw a woman in an overturned car and a policeman checking to see if she was alive. She was a very promising Republican candidate from South Carolina. She is now fighting for her life. Who gets to move into the primaries for the very red state of South Carolina is a Nazi. So we have a Nazi Republican taking her place. The woman that her name was Katie Arlington, and I posted her in the last two YouTubes. And I thought, while this is a tragedy for her, I'm being showed it for a reason. And then I saw some advertisement for this Nazi, and I thought, oh, I don't know how this happened. This woman was in a terrible car crash, and who pops up but a terrible Nazi? We need some level-headed Republicans, please. So we pray for Katie. She was wearing blue too. She's a Republican. Wish her the best and hope she comes back, because it is our Republicans' friends that must also work to save our republic. You must remember that Lincoln founded the Republican Party. He called it the Grand Old Party. I come from a family of Republicans. They had great faith in the party of Eisenhower, and it wasn't that bad. But some loopholes were there, and money, follow the money. There are people dying on the Texas border for money. What has our country come to? Can we pull out of this tailspin? Yogananda thought we could, barely. So I have more stuff to bring, and I do look forward to your comments. Come and join me on second. Here's the group and my group members add things too. Psychic predictions for the world. Come and just ask to join the group. Read, watch, and contribute. That's the most important thing. Join me on this. We can pull this off together. But first, we've got to not be part of a regime that cages children in warehouses. May I emphasize that is what we've got right now, and people make money off of it, while the adult immigrants are left to die or shot, delivered to funeral homes. Everybody gets paid. The immigrants have bounties on their heads. Of course, we can't open our borders to everybody. That's ridiculous. But as a humane and noble country, most certainly other things can be arranged. And you're not going to believe it. Um, Trump's daughter, uh, Ivanka, actually had some intelligent thoughts for what to do about the exploding population all over, everywhere, including South America. And by the way, in Trump's chart, he actually has a aspect that shows that at least one of his children might step forth and do something positive. It's there. So I'm waiting patiently. So I hope I get some more orbs. It was a delight waking up with one. And I'll tell you about Marfa, Texas in the next YouTube. There's a place that is very well known for viewing orbs. And they don't just show up on cameras. You can go and view them along the Texas border and along the Rio Grande and near Big Bend. If anything, if you don't see an orb, the place is fabulous and gorgeous. I have to wrap it up now. I have more. I have lots more. I want to thank you so much for being patient with me while my voice heals. I had an accident. I don't think I'm going to get back to the opera lessons anytime soon. But things happen for a reason, my friends. I originally learned to make YouTubes because I wanted to do meditations. Well, something happened to my voice. And I sound like, I don't know, Minnie Mouse. So I began getting these dreams. And I said, I'm going to make YouTubes on them. So please come and join me on psychic predictions for the world. If you have a dream, if you're a dreamer, if you believe in fairies, if you believe in the little people of Ireland, if you believe in angels, if you are an angel, show up on my page, and I will repeat what Yogananda asked us to do with every thought, every step, every vibration that you put out. Are you moving in action? Are you moving towards God or away from God? Make that choice now. I love you all so much, and I'll be coming back to you very soon. Oh, you must subscribe. I can't bring these to you if you don't subscribe. Namaste.